Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Nerd Takes. I'm John.
I'm Justin.
I'm Andrew.
And we're back again for another tasting. This one is the Parker's Heritage Heavy Char Wheat Whiskey. Glorious bottle. Can't wait to try this one.
I was going to say, I think I this is one of my favorite type of, like, the brand, like the Parker's Heritage.
The Parker's?
It's just so clean.
Yeah.
I just love the way the front of the bottle looks. I just think it's...
Yeah, and it's a very unique shape, too, the bottle itself.
It is, yeah.
And it's one from one of our favorite distilleries, maybe our favorite distillery, Heaven Hill.
I always forget this is from Heaven Hill, and that is probably my favorite distillery.
This is probably...
Sorry, you guys who love Buffalo Trace, but Heaven Hill's superior.
Heaven Hill is putting out a lot of good stuff. So a little bit about this one. This is the 15th edition of the Parker's Heritage Collection, and it features the same mash bill as Bernheim Wheat Whiskey, but is aged in specialty barrels that were charred for 90 seconds as opposed to the traditional 40 seconds.
You know, real quick, recently they've been doing the Bernheim barrel proof.
Those are good. I've had one, and it was good.
I've had one too. I think that may be a future episode where we can try some, because it's a relatively new thing they're doing as far as like the barrel proof, like batches, like with larceny and with.
And it's available. Like I can find it. It's not difficult to find.
Right.
And not many people know about it because it's not a bourbon. It's a wheat whiskey, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Continuing the award-winning series of heavy char releases, these level 5 barrels were aged for a full 11 years, where the heavier char allowed the whiskey to penetrate further into the barrel, bringing forth honey and subtle cinnamon spice. The 75 barrels reached peak maturation on the 6th floor of Rickhouse Y. It's bottled without chill filtration at 122 proof, Heaven Hill. The wheat whiskey is the first new style of American whiskey to be introduced since Prohibition. And as I've stated before, it's 11 years, it's 122. The mash bill is 51% wheat, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley, so no rye. And the MSRP when this came out in 2021 was $140. So it's going to be sweet because it's got the wheat, but it's got a lot of corn in it too. So it'll be interesting.
Also to see if it's worth 140.
Also to see if it's worth 140.
All right. Well, so up for nose first, yeah?
Yeah, nose first. And I do have some notes actually from the Heaven Hill website that we can talk about in a second.
Oh, wow. It is very, very sweet.
It is very sweet.
Yeah.
And it's got like just a very distinct, like, it's a lot of sugar, a lot of, I don't know if butterscotch is the right word.
You get too
getting
far down there, it stings a little bit.
Honey? I'm getting like something like citrus. I don't know. I'm going honey. Honey, and I mean, there definitely is like an oak char to it too. I mean,
You can smell the oak.
yeah, it's very clearly oaky. Oaky.
Smell your skin.
Smell my skin.
Smell your skin. That resets it.
I mean, you get the wheat. There's definitely like a pie crust.
Oh, so you're getting some of that baking.
Yeah.
Some of the bread.
Yeah.
The doughy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some good baking
Toasted.
spices, allspice. Okay. Well, I've already tasted it, so.
Hildebrand?
Yeah.
Your nose is on the mark. The first two words are honey and soft oak.
Oh, look at that.
And then subtle cinnamon and nutmeg spices
Okay.
for the nose.
Nutmeg. That's definitely.
What was that?
No, it's one of those spices that I'm not sure I can super identify. Like if you lined up 10 spices in front of me.
Just think of pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie. Now you say
exactly.
that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Pumpkin pie for sure.
So for the taste, it is, for me, it's very sugary. It's like, like
it's sweet.
Peanut brittle, butterscotch, like tapioca. I don't know. Just like if you gave me like a creme brulee and threw it into and liquefied it, this is like what it kind of tastes like to me. Now it's got some heat. It's got some spice to it.
It does have some spice. Yeah, it does have some
more
heat.
on the front palate.
Yep.
Not so much in the back, but like roof of the mouth, a little bit in front of the tongue. But like the sugar, the sweetness is what like overpowers for me. What do you got, Andrew?
It's definitely got sweet to it. I'm getting some cinnamon. Yeah. I think you nailed it.
Yeah. So rich, soft, and sweet, hints of molasses and butterscotch.
Molasses. Oh, I said butterscotch.
You did say
Did say
butterscotch.
butterscotch.
You did say butterscotch.
All right.
Sywell.
We gotta call in producer Justin because he's giving us
Sywell's
a face
making
that
a
is
face.
quite
He's
unique.
making a face.
I don't like it.
Not
He
loving
doesn't
it.
like it.
Really?
I don't like it. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's better than a lot of stuff that's been on this podcast. But yeah, I there's not a depth of flavor there. I feel like it's too. There's heat, and I like the heat.
Yep.
I'm
There's
not
a little
proof
heat.
for like Justin, but I enjoy some heat. But yeah, there's just nothing there that I find special about this, especially compared to some of the other stuff we've had. I'm like, meh, I wouldn't bother buying this.
Yeah, I think that it does have a nice heat, which you guys, as you said, I do enjoy. But I don't think it's got the mouth feel like you said. Depth of flavor is a great way to put it. Like, even though it does have some really nice legs to it, like
It's light.
Light
it
is a good
little
word.
light.
It's light.
Yeah.
Light is a good
That's
word.
the wheat,
Which
though.
isn't
I mean,
which isn't necessarily a
lightens up
bad
a ton.
thing, because everybody's different, but it is light. It doesn't coat the mouth, or it doesn't have that oiliness that some people really enjoy. I enjoy that. This is just different.
Well, and Andrew, you said the wheat is you think doing that.
I think the wheat lightens it up a lot. This one, I think, in contrast to some of the other ones that we've tasted, sits much more in the front of the mouth. So you sort of feel it on the front of the tongue, even on the lips, but it doesn't reach kind of back into your throat the way some of the other ones. Even though it's relatively higher proof.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't. So the finish for something like this, it finishes pretty quickly.
Yeah, I also think that sometimes when we do these, I'm sure you guys who are watching and listening, you may be able to figure out based on our outfits that we're doing more than one in one sitting. So
Yeah.
Fair.
perhaps this is an unfair comparison given the ones we just have done. I don't think this is bad. I think that I'm not saying flip up the order, but I do think this is a very solid whiskey. I just think that we've, you know what I mean, like recency bias. Like I think that
Yeah.
we've
It's
the
tough.
other two were so pretty. I don't want to say exceptional, but one was exceptional. One was like pretty solid.
But
You know,
those are
and-
also, and I think to Sywell's point that he was making, those are also bourbons. This is a wheat whiskey.
This is a wheat
Yeah,
whiskey.
yeah.
So it doesn't have any rice spice on it at all. So
Mhm.
it's not going to have that bite. It's not going to have that. It has a lot of wheat because again,
I'm
with the
getting-
wheated mash bills, like you replace the rye with the wheat to make it soft.
Yeah,
And this is
which
51% wheat.
yeah, no,
it's very
fair.
soft.
So it's going to be super soft.
Super soft.
Thank you, Letterkenny. But I think there's a lot less caramel and vanilla than I would have expected for something for a barrel that's been charred for, you said 90 seconds
90 seconds.
instead of
A
the,
level 5 char.
right, instead of the
heavy char.
the traditional 40. I would have expected a lot more kind of sweetness, caramel, vanilla coming out of that, and it's just not there.
And it's got the sweetness. It's just a different kind of sweetness.
maybe
again,
maybe it's the wheat moderating
Because of the mash bill.
Yeah,
Like
could
if it's a heavy char and this is a bourbon, I think you're inundated with caramel and vanilla and butterscotch and creme brulee and like everything that we've been talking about. Totally.
And Parker's does that, right? They have different variations.
I
of
have
this.
I have the heavy char bourbon.
We've had that.
We've had that.
Yeah, and that
It's
was
fantastic.
high up on the list as
That
far as
was
rating. And this one's a little bit. This is a little
very
bit lower,
high.
I think, across the board.
Yeah.
And in fairness, I tend to be a rye guy, so I like
You like the
a
rye
rye.
spice?
I do. And I like the spice that comes with a rye.
And I like wheated. Like I
Yeah.
think larceny.
Yep.
This is crazy to say. I really enjoy all the larceny, especially the barrel proofs are great.
Yeah.
Mhm. And
Well,
they're starting to
yes.
figure it out, especially
Those
with the
are
recent
tasty.
the recent
Yeah.
ones. Like the first ones, yeah, but the last couple of years, they're starting to figure it out.
So-
Again, Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
There
So I
it
mean,
is.
so I
There
think
it is.
so for a wheat whiskey expression, this may be nice. It's not my preference.
It's just not your jam.
No, I tend to prefer something that's got a little bit more spice to it, a little bit more caramel, a little bit it's got a little bit more sort of heft to it.
Yeah.
then this is super light. Like this is almost like it's going to sound shitty, a lager of a whiskey. Justin looks like he might agree.
Yes, 100% agree.
you are
Like, that's
speaking
what I'm
his
thinking of.
language.
Like, yes, 100%. It's just, yeah.
Well, and this is kind of like for another not so great. That was actually a really good analogy. This is a terrible analogy, but this is like
Let's
you
say
mentioned.
it anyways.
No, this is like when you said it, like the original larceny barrel proofs. This is like one of the first ones, and I think that it's good. It's tasty,
Right.
But having had all of the better versions, this just pales in comparison.
Well, and you mentioned the Bernheim wheat whiskey barrel proofs. Like this is the first one.
Yeah.
Because it's the same mash bill as those.
Sure.
So I mean, it's a heavier char. It's aged longer than those are because those are probably 6 to 8 years, just like the larceny are. But this is the very first. That's the very first. This is the first of its kind, essentially.
I think it's
So-
cool. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's a cool bottle to have. I don't know if it's worth $140.
Well, and tying into that, I think if you're looking for an entry level whiskey, something that's a little bit lighter, it's not going to like blow your face off or whatever. This is like something like this is a good option. I'm not sure for $140 it's your entry level whiskey, but it's
No.
you know if you prefer lighter whiskeys, this is and you want to spend the money, this is a good option.
Yeah, a wheat whiskey is a good option. Whether it's this one or it's the Bernheim wheat or the Bernheim barrel proof.
Or larceny barrel proof, yeah.
Well, I'm just talking about wheat whiskeys, not
Yeah.
not a bourbon that's wheated, not a wheated bourbon.
All right.
Two different things.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right.
I did just finish my glass,
ratings.
though, so in fairness.
I think I think
Go on.
John's got to go first in this one.
You want me
yeah,
to go first?
I think
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Man, I'm gonna go Sweaty Luke again. I'm gonna go 7.5.
That's good.
Like it's
All right.
it is good. It is a solid. It's a solid pour. It's different, but I still like it. It's a solid pour.
Okay. I'll go next. I'm going to say Empire Luke. So 6.5. I think that is,
Okay. Yep.
you know, I feel like I'm starting to grade harder in my old age.
So am I.
Yeah, well, the numbers would say that.
Yeah, I
You've
think-
always graded harder than me, but I'm starting to grade a little bit harder than I used to. And I think this is, again, like we've all said, I don't want to just repeat ourselves, but like it's good, not worth 140. The mash bill is great. You can probably find something like this half the price. Start there. Let's give them maybe a couple more batches. And I wouldn't be surprised in a couple years we revisit something like this and we're like, that's fucking amazing.
Well, I'm curious about revisiting this in like 2 or 3 months after it opens up.
I didn't even mean this bottle. I mean, like,
I mean this bottle.
In a
future
couple of
batches,
years.
but also
Yeah.
maybe this bottle too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So
You guys ever done that? Like open something up on the day and then come back to it?
yeah. Oh, like on the podcast?
Yeah.
No,
No, we haven't.
I've got plenty.
We're thinking about
I've got plenty. We've got. I think we were just. We were talking about that where we could re-rate some things, but not
Yeah.
all
We
things.
gotta do some re-ratings. I'm getting, like I said, meaner in my old age.
You're
and
getting the itch.
I didn't know what was going on years ago. So
You're getting the itch.
I mean,
are.
if you really want to attract viewers, just re-rate everything in one day. And let's see what happens.
that could be
That
fun.
sounds
Video
awful.
one day,
it. Sell tickets.
I'm not sure we can physically survive that.
I don't think
but
we could either. Can I sleep
I'm
here?
willing to give it a go.
It's got to be a Saturday, and I'm staying here.
Yeah,
For sure. I'll give it a solid Hoth Luke, so not 6.5, just straight up 6. In fairness, I like the spice of a rye. I like the spice that a rye gives a bourbon. I do like wheated bourbons, but wheat whiskey is probably not my jam. So yeah, just give it a 6.
You just learned something about yourself, so there you go.
There,
But
and learning is half the battle.
you did finish the glass.
I did finish. I mean, you're not going to let a bourbon just or
Yeah.
a whiskey just sit. So
No, you're not.
Make sure to write that down though. You don't like wheated whiskeys.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Parker's Heritage. Nerd Takes.
Nerd takes.
Thank you.